Ron Burgundy, and you're watching SSN News. Today we'll be going over Paraguay and the outlook of the country. Starting with our news reporter at the scene.
Good evening. I'm news reporter Secora Sanchez, coming to you from the heart of Paraguay, located in South America. To cover the basics, Paraguay is a landlocked state, and the features here include grassy plains and wooded hills. The death rate is 6 and the crude birth rate is 16. This number has drastically decreased over the past few decades, which is a good thing considering it's an improvement within the country.
Let's move on to
Secora
to deliver information on population and migration.
Yes.
Filming? On air?
On air.
Okay. We're live?
Live.
Thanks!
Ron.
Hello fellow news watchers. I'm here giving you information on population and migration. Paraguay's net migration is actually negative 0.08, meaning there are more emigrants than immigrants. Paraguayans are ceasing to migrate to countries like Spain and Argentina in search of employment, also to near more developed countries like the United States. Unfortunately, this would actually be a push factor to current citizens and those looking to move, as a sign of not being an ideal place to live. If people continue to emigrate out of the country, the future will not be so good for Paraguay. The current population is around 6.81 million. Less than 2% lives in the Gran Chaco, the largest dry forest in South America, which takes up 60% of the land. Back to you, Secora.
Hey guys, I'm over here delivering news about Paraguayans' everyday life at the Estadio Defensores del Chaco, aka the soccer stadium. While men are known to be the ones who work, women mostly stay at home in charge of household duties. Unfortunately, women continue to face sexual harassment and aren't treated equally to men. But when everyone does get out of their normal activities, the social life here revolves around soccer being the most popular sport. A popular holiday in this country is Heroes Day, March 1st, which marks the end of the Paraguayan War. As for food, beef is the most common meal that is made in many different ways. Thanks,
Secora,
for the information on this segment. Please stick around after this upcoming commercial break to learn about political and ethnicity with
Secora Sanchez.
Paraguay is considered a nation-state due to the homogeneous population acting as a centripetal force holding them together. 95% of the population is a mestizo mix, speaking the same language, practicing the same religions mostly, and sharing similar cultures. Paraguay shares a physical political boundary with Argentina, which is Aguzu Falls, corresponding on the border. Paraguay is a part of Secora, a supranational organization. Unfortunately, they're preventing trade agreements with other countries at this time for Paraguay.
Looks like
Secora
has some information for us about agriculture. Let's move on to this.
You're on.
You're right. I'm over here in a local farm in Paraguay giving you information on agriculture. First off, agriculture provides 28% of the GDP and 45% of the country depends on agriculture and subsistence farming. This is almost half of the population. Being reliant on subsistence agriculture is a factor contributing to being an LDC, which is a less developed country. This is yet another reason why Paraguay's outlook isn't too great. However, shifting their dependency elsewhere to generate more profit would be helpful in their case. Besides subsistence, they are highly dependent on commercial agriculture. Their commercial crops include, but are limited to, cotton, tobacco, and sugarcane.
Very interesting. Let's now catch up with some information about urban Paraguay.
Well, about 60% of the population lives in urban areas. The largest city is the capital, residing with 2.139 million residents. As for urban residents, they're prone to health risks due to the waterborne diseases caused by the low leverage of coverage for water and sanitation. As you can see here, I'm at one of the sewage plants. Settlements are usually just clustered in urban areas and shantytowns. Speaking of shantytowns, they dominate 25% of the land. This percentage is high and certainly a push factor to people living in Paraguay. For the country to fix this, more strict zoning laws in the future would be a great idea, but with so much other stuff on their plate, they do not see this happening anytime soon, unfortunately. Oh look, over here, it looks like a worker. Maybe he can give us an insight on the information about the sewage plant. Excuse me, sir? I have a few questions. Sir, just one moment, please.
Now, on to development. When examining the Brant line, you can determine Paraguay's development since it's located south of the line. South of the Brant line is purely periphery countries, aka the LDCs. Paraguay is an LDC due to the poor education being a huge factor. Half of the children failed to complete 9 years of schooling and only 1% go on to earn university degrees. Because of this, the workforce in low-educated jobs dominate the labor force. For the country to become any more developed, this would definitely have to be on the priority list. Without this, Paraguay isn't moving forward on the demographic transition model.
As for industry and services, Paraguay is one of the least industrialized countries in South America. The Industrial Revolution has caused water pollution due to the industrial pollutants and sewage. 21% of the workforce is in industry. Tourism plays an important role in the service sector. Tourists travel to places like Chaco Region, national parks, biological reserves, and the Iguazu Falls. As for mandatory services, when a male turns 18, he is required to perform at least 1 year of military service.
To sum everything up, Paraguay's outlook doesn't reveal a single sign of noticeable development other than the decreased birth rate. Although important, this sign alone is not enough to cover the other large reasons like education, workforce, and the siting situation of Paraguay. The education hasn't shown a single sign of improvement. If Paraguay would like to improve this area, it would take a long time for the statistic of children completing 9 years of schooling rise larger than half. As for the workforce, it is obvious that secondary and tertiary services are among most common jobs. The siting situation actually contributes to the workforce being dominated in those areas due to the arable land being available and farmed on, and the tourist attractions like national parks and Iguazu Falls. The situation of the country isn't good for them either, considering that people are emigrating to other countries around there and even
Little Paraguayan citizen, what changes do you think need to be made for development to happen in the country?
I just like cages with more playgrounds.
Thank you. Little words of advice from the Paraguayan citizens. The government just has to help out and hear us for them to make changes here.
Thank you for watching SS News. I'm news anchor Ron Burgundy, and this is it for tonight. That's a wrap up, guys. Woo!